The Summer Sun Celebration, Night Patrol, Chapter 33, by Foxgear. The wind blew through her hair as she soared through the sky. Playfully she skidded across a patch of clouds, turning them into black thunderclouds. The ponies behind her crashed into them, and thus were zapped, the lightning from the clouds charring them black and frizzing their hair. She smiled as she landed on a cloud to address the team of Pegasus. "A good run, but you'll have to do much better than that to catch me," Celestia chimed playfully, kicking some cloud into their faces. The Pegasus team was part of a new batch of recruits, hoof-picked by Firefly, for the new team she was forming to replace the Shadow Bolts. The pink and blue pony has yet to find a new name for the team, but she was certain inspiration would hit her any day now. "Back to your drills now, all of you. I have some things I must attend to." Jumping off the cloud, Celestia glided down to the city of Canterlot, aiming for the newly remodeled training grounds. New recruits stopped in the middle of their drills to bow to her, a gesture she returned with a nod of her head as she walked along, a feeling of disappointment welling up inside her as she looked at the ponies training hard to become cannon fodder for her. Harsh circumstances. Harsh criticisms. But it was true, the ponies, mainly stallions, were part of the new Equestrian Royal Guard under the EUP initiative. After Luna's banishment, the Council of Nobles used public opinion to push the measure through legislation while she was in mourning for what she did to her sister, and thus reluctantly allowed the measure to pass. No matter how hard these ponies trained, there was still only one group she turned to for the darker, dirty work that comes with ruling a kingdom. Her sister's night ponies, the Night Patrol. For 10 years after Luna's banishment, they worked in the shadows, doing the jobs she used to leave to Luna, such as monster slaying and much darker things that the public would never find out about. But of this, the stigma has been placed upon the remaining night ponies. They were feared and shunned and called cultist as the rumors of her sister's dark side, Nightmare Moon, spread through the land. Seen before coming to do battle, Nightmare Moon had made a few stops along the way. First, she had laid ruin to not just Griffinstone, but also the northern zebra tribes, the Manitor clans, and even a few dragon herds. Her message was clear: fear her. Her crimes did not stop there, but there were far too many to count and try to suppress. There was even a day called Nightmare Night, where ponies would tell the false story of Nightmare Moon, a story she let live, for it took the light off her missing sister as the history books were slowly erasing Luna from their pages and replacing her with Nightmare Moon. Celestia told the scholars her sister had died trying to stop Nightmare Moon, which was the truth from a certain point of view, namely hers. It was all she could do to preserve her sister's honor. Still, while many patrollers have chosen to either retire or follow Six's command, a few did choose to help her directly. Kira Perfecta, now Queen of Nippon, ensured their alliance would be a long and prosperous one. Firefly was another of those few She was in charge of the Pegasus division of the EUP, and every once in a while, Nightingale would drop by to help with the training between missions. Lately, though, the two have been at odds with each other. Something Celestia was planning to get to the bottom of today. "Why won't you just admit it? You like it here," Firefly's voice resounded over the training grounds. Slowly the recruits and officers slithered away, giving their commander plenty of space. Peeking around the wall, Celestia was just in time for Nightingale's rebuttal. The metal-winged Pegasus looking particularly angry today. "Why would I want to stay here and train a bunch of limp-wing weaklings? They have no discipline. You want to call these guys shadow bolts? They are disciplined," Firefly retorted angrily through gritted teeth. "Yes, they are not shadow bolts, far from it, but they have talent. If you would just stay and actually train them for longer than 10 minutes, then maybe they could be bolts someday. If that's the case, talk to Sixes or Fury. They could do it." Firefly snorted and then sighed, looking tired and exhausted. "Every pony here is too afraid of Sixes and Fury, and they've stopped talking to me. I'm not even allowed to enter the castle anymore. They say I've made my choice." "Because you did," Nightingale said with a soft tone. "You chose to help train these EUP ponies, the same ponies that disrespected our princess, the same ponies that have done nothing but slander our princess's name for the past 10 years. I just wanted to help Equestria. Is that not what we were meant to do when we joined Night Patrol?" Firefly asked with tears threatening to fall. Celestia decided it was time to intrude, giving both mares a shock as she stepped around the corner. "It is as you said, Firefly," she said, walking up to the two. "But times have changed. I appreciate all what Night Patrol has done for me these past 10 years. I fear I have overextended their generosity with their willingness to follow my orders. The fact they wish to leave from service, while hurtful, is understandable. What happened to Princess Luna wasn't your fault. She was your little sister, and that is why it is my fault, Firefly," Celestia interrupted. "Our problem started long before we took up the crown. Problems I failed to address as both a ruler and an elder sister. That being said, I do wish to look out for those my sisters held dear. So if you would please tell me what Sixes is planning, Nightingale, I would greatly appreciate it." The white Pegasus looked weirdly at the Sun Princess. An uncertainty in Nightingale's eyes made Celestia heartache, for it was another reminder of the trust she had lost. "You know Sixes is looking for a way to meet Princess Luna again, correct?" Celestia nodded and urged her to continue. "Well, he found a way. I don't know what it is or the details, but I think Applejack knows." Firefly chimed in, looking confused. "Didn't Applejack retire?" Nightingale nodded. "Yes, she did. But that doesn't mean she and Sixes don't talk." "I see," Celestia acknowledged. "Thank you for your help." Spreading her wings, Celestia took to the sky and flew away from Canterlot. It's time to pay Applejack a visit. Hopefully she was in the mood to talk. Applejack's farm. Applejack lay on a large fluffy blanket soaking in the sun, with one of her foals wrapped in her forelegs and another sucking on her tits. They were the newest addition to the Apple clan. Both were boys, named Apple Gin, her eldest, and Apple Whiskey, her youngest. Affectionately, she rubbed her swollen belly. Inside her, their child, and hopefully a girl this time. "Are you doing all right, Rawhide?" she called out to her comrade turned husband. They left night patrol together 2 years after Luna's banishment. He helped her start her apple farm, and upon completion of the house and barn, finally proposed to her. The entire night patrol had shown up for the wedding, and Princess Celestia had wed them. Some would say it was a perfect wedding, minus the fact it was held in the barn on a cold, rainy day. Celestia had offered to make it sunny, but they refused, liking the rain. Rawhide wiped the sweat from his brow and waved to her. "I'm fine, honey." He quickly plucked a few trees, spilling the sweet fruit from their branches. "This isn't as hard as digging through stone, but still quite the chore." She smiled, knowing how tough apple bucking could be. "Are Allure and Toughhide coming by this week?" Another interesting event was the marriage of Allure and Rawhide's brother Toughhide, thus making Allure his sister-in-law. It was kind of strange to be closely related to unicorns, though their magic would be handy around the farm sometimes. But other than that, all in all, Applejack was happy with her life the way it was. Despite that, there was one little thought that lingered in the back of her mind. A thought she was certain Rawhide also had too. That was the idea that maybe they shouldn't have left night patrol. A part of her could not help but feel she was letting the others and Luna down by retiring. Yet, she only joined so that her family could finally live in peace and settle down. Should she feel guilty for wanting to reap the rewards of her work? She sighed, rolling onto her back to look up at the sky. The moon, somewhere up there, and on it, Luna. Applejack had a feeling Luna would be okay with her new life, but a part of her wanted to hear the Princess of the Night say it to her directly. Something that was impossible unless she decided to join in on Six's crazy plan, and maybe she wouldn't have if she didn't have 3 foals to look after. "I can't believe he's actually going to do it," she muttered, resting her chin on the blanket. A shadow fell over her, a very tall shadow that could only belong to one pony. "And what is that he is going to do?" Celestia asked curiously as Applejack looked up at the white princess, the farm mare making no move to stand or bow. There was no need to, as they were beyond such things. "You came to ask about Six's is up to," Applejack drawled lazily, already knowing the answer. "Am I that easy to read these days?" "No," Applejack chuckled. "Just a hunch. I can't say I intend to tell you, though." If Celestia was bothered by Applejack's statement, she did a good job hiding it. The princess's mouth didn't even twitch or frown after hearing the words. Instead, she opted to simply continue smiling. "I see. Do you intend to join in Six's plan to somehow live to see my sister again?" Applejack shook her head and held her foes close to her body. Could've, but I won't. I got a different life now, one I've been working to live for a long time. It would be nice to see Luna again, but I'm happy here. Now if you'll excuse me, I gotta put these little guys down for a nap. Of course. Sorry to intrude. Celestia bowed her head and prepared to take flight, but a call from Applejack made her flutter mid-jump. You're welcome here anytime, you know that, right? Anytime you need somebody to talk to or just to get a break from that stuffy city, you just fly on by and I'll have cider and apple pie waiting. Celestia smiled, choking back tears. I prefer cake. I can make that too. Applejack winked as Celestia took flight. She watched the princess disappear into the setting sun, a frown forming on her lips. Can you take care of these two, Rawhide? I gotta go meet Sixes for his crazy plan to start. Leave it to me, honey. Tell him goodbye for me. Will do, she said, breaking off into a trot. She had to be at the castle before nightfall. The castle of the two royal sisters, once home to the two alicorn princesses, was now in a state of decay. Damage from the battle with Nightmare Moon has proven to be too serious to fix without a massive sum of bits that were better spent elsewhere, according to Celestia. Really, she just found it too painful to keep living in the castle. However, she did visit Luna's room from time to time, making sure the spell she cast to prevent it was still intact, and sometimes the Sun Princess would just sit on the bed and pretend to chat with Luna or recall memories. Celestia was not the only one who frequents the castle. In fact, many still lived there. They were the night ponies, formerly of Luna's night patrol. They now lived separated from the rest of Equestria. They have long since withdrawn from their roles as equestrian heroes to their secret savor, with their only goal being to return to their true princess service. Sixes! Sixes! Are you here? Applejack shouted through the catacombs of the castle. Her heart ached at how cold it was down here now. The fires that once burned to create the patrollers' armor and weapons had long since been extinguished. Actually, it looked like a lot of equipment had been destroyed by Sixes himself, with huge chunks of black molten rock were anything to go by. You're late, Sixes said from the darkness, making Applejack's hair stand on end. She hasn't seen Sixes much in these past years, and maybe she never noticed before, but the dragon pony was covered in scars. More scars than she remembered, at least. Applejack huffed. Sorry for getting pregnant. Not all of us can have magically made children, you know. A smile appeared on the grim Wren's face as he walked over and hugged the farm mare. I know. I'm glad to see you too. How are the little ones? Rawhide teaching them to swing pickaxes yet? AJ laughed as they separated. She loved the big goofy grin on Six's face. He hasn't smiled much since Luna was banished. The fact her kids were the cause of it only made her happier. He's trying, but with not much luck, I'm afraid. Whiskey wants to breathe fire like Uncle Sixes. Oh, really? Sixes laughed. Well, I'm sure he'll grow out of that. The two of them shared a laugh together, each remembering happier times. However, it quickly faded as they were left standing in the silence. Awkwardly, they shifted in place, uncertain what to say next. We should go. The others are waiting. Sixes turned, leading the way towards the tunnel, leading deeper into the ground. The tunnel was new, Applejack noted, as they descended lower and lower. At the bottom of the tunnel was a huge door, swung wide open, leading to a room made of marble. Inside, Allure and Nightingale waited. Behind them, another door, where fierce Fury stood guard. Behind him, in the shadows of the room, beyond was the rest of the night patrollers. Everything is set, Starwind said, hobbling out of the room. He was so much older now, his mane now completely gray, his face wiry and thin from countless days and nights searching for his daughter Dusk, who was trapped somewhere beyond the veil of time and space. All that's left is to set the keys and the spell will activate. Starwind handed Sixes and Fury a green potion, and the two drank it, their faces distorting in disgust at the veil liquid traveled down their throats. Are the key bearers ready? Have you selected your keys? The old inventor asked the three mayors. Allure, Nightingale, and Applejack nodded, and each of them presented an item to Starwind. Earrings, a medal, and a hat. Starwind nodded. Good, good. Any last goodbyes? Nightingale pulled Fury off to the side and began speaking in hushed whispers to the Red Renin, leaving Allure and Applejack to try to stop Sixes one last time. Sixes' plan was simple. Using a specially made potion created from cockatrice eyes and several other equally gross ingredients, he and the other ponies that chose to join him will be turned to stone, thus preserving them through the centuries till Luna was set to return. On top of that, the other room was actually a vault made to keep all the elements and all foul beings from coming and smashing them to bits, which is where Applejack, Allure, and Nightingale came in. The three items they brought were to be the keys to open the vault door. The keys would be engraved with a special seal that preserves keys and ensures they would always come back to a relative of their owner, so that when the time came, Luna could find them and set them free. The plan was crazy, no doubt, but what had Applejack and the other two worried was the fact that Sixes wanted under no circumstances for Celestia to know where to find them. Are you sure about this? Applejack inquired for what must have been a thousandth time. Not telling Celestia, I mean? What if the clues are destroyed or Luna is unable to be cured? You'll be stuck stone forever. Sixes inhaled and breathed out slowly, letting a soft smile form on his lips. Celestia has come to rely on us a lot these past few years. That's why we've been slowly removing ourselves from her, to let her used to the fact we won't be around to help her anymore. We cannot tell her where to find us, because I'm afraid that if she became desperate, she would use her powers to break the seal, and set us free too soon. Starwind is the only pony who can make that potion correctly, and he won't live forever. We wouldn't be able to do this again. I understand, Applejack said sadly. She had one card left. Time to play it. What about Crusader? I know you two have never really connected, but he's still your son. Can you really do this knowing you'll never see him again? Sixes appeared to be taken back by the question, giving Applejack hope that he would reconsider. Their hopes were quickly dashed aside by Six's sad chuckle. Crusader's better off without me around. Celestia and him have connected like an actual mother and son. I'll just muddy things up if I stay around, because at the end of the day, no matter how wonderful a parent Celestia may be or how beautiful and kind she is still not the mare that stole my heart. Applejack stepping away from Sixes, finally admitting defeat. On the other side of the room, Nightingale, with her head hung low, walked back to the group, and Fury took his place beside Sixes. The time has come, Starwind said, as the moon rised overhead, the light of the moon shining through a glass ceiling above, creating a bunch of girths on the floor. Sixes, Fury, go into the chamber. Allure, Nightingale, Applejack, hold up your keys. They all did as instructed, and once the two Renin took their spots inside, Starwind began to chant. Warriors who seek to see beyond the veil of time and travel to places far from thy home, to wait for the princess who will set you free. Let you harden like stone and your bodies be cold as the northern snow. Let time not touch you till the three virtues break your seal. Sleep now till thy time come to awake, and do not worry about your fate. Starwind struck the ground. Inside the vault, the ponies inside did their best not to panic, as their bodies turned to stone from their hooves up. Many tried to stay perfectly still, wanting to keep their dignity, lest they be stuck in some awkward pose. At the head of the herd, Sixes smiled and poked one last time before coming completely locked in stone. See you in 1,000 years, my friends. The three keys, glowing brightly with magic, floated away from the three mares and circled in front of the doors, slowly closing them. The white stone doors slid shut, sealing the purified ponies inside till their princess comes to free them. For the three key bearers, it was a heart-wrenching moment, and all three of them shed tears, holding the keys tight against their breasts. Their fears getting the better of them as they imagined what could happen to their frozen friends in the next 1,000 years. What if the castle collapsed? What if the keys are lost in time? What if Luna doesn't wake them up? They may have just sent 350 of their friends and comrades to their deaths. Have faith, Starwind said, snapping the three out of their spiral of doubt. Have faith, it will all work out for them. Trust in them, trust in yourselves, and trust in Luna. The old inventor hobbled past the mares. When you're ready, I'll seal the door behind you. Applejack nodded and looked to Allure and Nightingale, each of them sharing the same look. They did their best, but it wasn't enough to stop Sixes from doing this. I suppose this is it then, huh? Nightingale said. No reason to stick around here, I guess. What's your plan from here on out, darlings? Allure asked. I, of course, am taking up residence in Canterlot. I started a new business in fancy attire there. I must say it's rather nice not to be in the sweltering heat anymore. What are you two going to do? Applejack chuckled. I'm gonna do what I've been doing. Farming and raising my kids. Nothing much else to do. What about you, Knight? I thought you of all ponies would be joining Sixes. The metal-winged pony snorted, seeming amused by the statement. It was tempting, but I've decided to fly around the world. After seeing the Crystal Empire, I wanted to go and see the rest of the world and all it had to offer when I lost my wings. I thought that dream was gone, but now, well, I guess I have the time to do it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Well, you don't be a stranger now. Make sure you come and visit from time to time, Applejack said, embracing the Pegasus. Don't forget about the friends you still have here. Nightingale smiled and nuzzled closer, holding her tears in Applejack's mane. I won't. I promise. With nothing else to say or do, the three mares left the chamber, Starwind sealing the door behind them till the time came for Luna's return. Their lives as warriors were over, but they still had plenty of life to live, families to raise and love, and dreams to strive and fight for. As they exited the castle for the final time, they all stood up, looked at the moon, and gave one final salute to their princess on the moon. Luna skidded across the white rocky landscape, firing several beams of magic and receiving several attacks in return. She was completely covered in blood and bruises, as was her opponent, her evil self, Nightmare Moon. They'd been fighting for, well, she lost track, but she could tell the time was soon upon them. The stars were shining bright, brighter than ever, meaning she would be released soon. Now it was only a matter of who would be in control, her or Nightmare. Give up! I've won 5,901,299 of our 9,918,421 bouts to this day. Across the crated battlefield, Nightmare Moon laughed. Foolish Luna, it's not the number of wins, but who wins the last battle. I have been conserving my strength for just this moment, the time of our release. Meanwhile, you have wasted all your time and energy winning pointless victories. Look at how tired you are. This battle is mine. Luna grits her teeth and fired at Nightmare. In the deep darkness of space, the stars shine brightly, their light engulfing the two ponies. But when the light died, there was only one. Nightmare Moon reigned victoriously. With an evil smile, she spread her wings and descended to Equestria. It's been 1,000 years. Time to pay her sister a visit. Well, that was chapter 33. Tomorrow, or should I say, yeah, tomorrow night will be the end of Night Patrol. I wish you all a very good night, and I will be here tomorrow.